Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I'm thrilled and delighted and excited to be welcoming a veteran actor, director, and educator to the neighborhood today. Let me give you just some of the places that this man has done acting and or directing. He worked at the Williamstown Festival, the LA Theater Center, Brooklyn Academy of Music, the Royal Court Theatre in London, La Mama downtown, Roundabout Midtown. He also is one of the founding members of Yale Repertory. Plus, he founded his own acting teaching studio called the Simon Studio. But here's the deal. You can see him right now. You're looking at his poem. But you can also see him in person in the flesh, appearing with the Chain Theater Company in a show called, it's two one-act plays, and he's in one of them. It's called Love, Sex, and Real Estate. Honestly, I think those are kind of out of order in terms of fun, but that's on West 36th Street. Won't you please welcome, and I will ask him to unmute his microphone, won't you please welcome to the neighborhood, Roger Hendricks Simon. Shalom, Roger. How you doing?
Shalom, Rabbi. Shalom.
No wonder. Yeah. Listen to the depth, the resonance of that.
Oh, thank you for that. You should be my agent, Rabbi. I tell you.
You should be my agent. I'm not getting any work. But let me ask, did you have to work on your voice, or was it just a natural thing that once you hit 13 or 14, your scrotum dropped and you sounded like this?
Well, it helps to have a good voice, Rabbi. But in fact, any actor has to really develop his voice, and there's no such thing as a terrible voice if you work on it. And yeah, I mean, 3 years of Yale Drama School, that's a big investment, and a lot of that was just working on voice and diction. And it's not just, you're not just born with this stuff. You really have to develop and work it over years.
Let me ask, you went to big, Dave, the guy who produces this program. He's not even talking to you because he's so jealous. He tried to get into Yale, and they went so. But you went to Yale. What was so wonderful? What did they teach you at Yale Drama School?
Well, they break you down, really. They teach you to kind of defend yourself first, and kind of have a little self-respect, because it's sort of like boot camp in the beginning at Yale Drama School. They you come out of some college where you think you were some kind of hot stuff, and they tell you right away you aren't. So you learn how to survive, number one, and because you get a lot of criticism, and a lot of people can't take that. Number two.
Oh, I made it number two this morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Number two, you learn the craft, Rabbi, and like any business, and it is a business, and it is a craft. It's something that you need to really work on and practice. It's not just talent at all. It's really learning the craft, and that takes years. And at Yale, it was 3 years. So I think the one thing that I can say is I really got a great sense of the craft and the professionalism by being at Yale Drama School, and they put up with me for 3 years. So I mean, I was very lucky.
Yeah, that's right. Wait, so Yale was post. That wasn't your undergraduate degree. That was kind of post degree then.
No, I went to Middlebury College in Vermont.
Oh, Dave could have gotten into Middlebury. Oh, please, he could have bribed a couple of people. He could have gotten straight B's at Middlebury, no problem. Oh, well,
no. I went back after 50 years, and I don't know how I would get in now. I'll tell you, it's everything is up there now. So I hope he could get in.
That at Middlebury, were you already leaning towards acting, directing, or there you were just liberal arts? I don't know what the hell I'm going to be.
Well, it was interesting. My family was in the business. They were very much involved, so I grew up around it. I always knew what I wanted to do, but I also thought I needed some kind of liberal arts education, and I'm glad I went. I really didn't want to major in drama at Middlebury. I wanted to wait, and then I knew what I wanted, and I really wanted then to try to apply to Yale drama school then after Middlebury, but I was doing so badly as a history major, which I thought, well, I like history. And my history teacher brought me in one day and said, would you like to graduate? And I said, yeah, that's the idea, isn't it? And he
Well,
said,
hold it right, please, not to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt
yeah,
you. If you loved history so much, why were you failing history?
because I thought I knew it. I had taken it in high school, and I think I felt, oh, this is American history. I sort of know it, and I don't think I took it as seriously as I should, and obviously I wasn't. So he said, listen, you're spending all this time over in the drama department doing plays. Why don't you major in drama? I said, no, that's going to be for later. I know what I want to do, but it's not going to be here. This drama is not, it's just a kind of extra thing here. It's not. Well, he said, let's put it this way, Roger, if you'd like to graduate, drama's going to be your major, he said. So that's when I switched. That was
You
my.
switch, or even in Middlebury. But here's the deal. You alluded to your family being in the business. Your dad was like the not the Urta, but what the guy who makes the posters and things
My
for.
dad, my dad, for many years worked doing all the titles for Paramount Pictures. He did cartoons for the New York Daily Mirror. He was the equivalent of Hirschfeld, the Hirschfeld cartoons, and covered opening nights for the New York Daily Mirror when he was only 19 years of age back in 1929, with a young man who worked with him on the bylines and other things, a guy named Walter Winchell.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
these were the days a lot of guys didn't go to college. You just went right in and you started working. He did the first programs for Radio City Music Hall. He did.
Please tell me you have somewhere in your house or storage your father's collection of
I
stuff.
do, and so does my brother and sister, and we really we're very proud of all that work. We know it should go to the museum, but it's hard to part with it.
Well, you
We
have
love having it.
kids. Are they going to give it to the kids and let them deal with the museum, or are you going to go like, in my will, this is going to go to the Library Performing Arts and Consent, this is going to the Lawrence and Lee Institute, or what?
I don't know. If I kick the bucket, it won't be my decision. If I do, if I kick the bucket in the next year, I haven't made up my mind. I love living with it, but yeah, people say really sooner or later this stuff really should go somewhere where people can really enjoy it more than just you and your friends and all.
You
I've
healthy?
done.
You're not about to kick the butt. You're fine, right? Everything's good.
I think. Oh no, I'm fine. I'm fine, Rabbi. I think I'm fine. I, you live every day and you enjoy, and I'm doing what I love, and I've been doing it all my life, and I'm very lucky to be doing that. And this all this acting. I've always been an actor, but for many years when I was studying at Yale, and then afterwards I was a professional director. I really enjoyed the idea of directing more than acting, because I didn't like being typed as the sidekick and the little crazy kid and whatever. I had more passion for the whole projects and to be a director. But it was my kids, my daughter, I have three children, and they're all in the arts, as was my wife, and my whole family. My kids, my daughter is a professional ballerina. For
I wanted to be a professional. Look at this. One gets to Yale. I don't get to Yale. Here, your daughter gets to be a ballerina. I wanted to be a ballerina. My on point was off point.
Well, you look like a promising dancer, Rabbi, I must say. I think you could do it. My kids, I always say, if you wait long enough, you get work from your kids. And my son, my son became a filmmaker very young. He knew what he wanted to do, and I really never did film until around 2008. And he was doing films with all these young independent directors. And one day, one of those directors said, well, does your father act anymore? And he said, well, why don't you audition him? And I did. I auditioned and I got the lead in this film, this little independent film called The Sublet, which won all these awards and festivals. And a director named Oliver Stone happened to see this film, and because of that, he asked me to be in Wall Street.
Yeah.
Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, and I had scenes opposite Michael Douglas and Josh Logan, and wonderful role that.
Wait, Joshua Logan.
No, not Joshua Logan, who's a great director. Josh Brolin.
Oh, well, Brolin. Well,
Josh
yeah, okay,
Brolin.
okay, yeah, yeah.
So
That
so that started my career, and even though that role got cut from that film, but enough people saw the DVD that came out with Oliver Stone giving me some very nice uh, kind of talking about me and whatever, and that started my career. And I've been working a lot now on with young independent films directed by young independent filmmakers.
Well,
And
one of those, I guess, is this movie that you're in called Love in Kilnary, which yeah, I think that was probably shot just before the pandemic, and it's getting released now. Is that the deal?
you know, people don't realize how long films take. Not to mention plays. They go see something on Broadway, or they go see a film and they think it was just made. Love and Culinary, which just came out in theaters, was shot 6 years ago,
Oh,
five,
wow.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a very low budget, but very exciting project. And the producer director Daniel Keith just wouldn't let go. This project was the little engine that could, and he just kept pushing and raising more money, and we finally finished it. And then came the pandemic, and then lo and behold, it was unbelievably received. It won all these awards all over the world. I was very lucky to have a role that I could really show what I could do. I got to not only act but do some dancing. So
Wow.
and
I could be the ballerina. You could be kind of the Fred Astaire to my Ginger.
I'll
Not
take
Ginger
that.
Rogers. Ginger Rogers.
I'll take that, Rabbi. Thank you. That would be great. I actually, because of my daughter, who has been a ballerina, and I just recently had my professional ballet debut a couple of years ago in the Nutcracker. While she was doing Sugar Plum Fairy, I was doing I was doing the role opposite her,
Told her or something?
Drosselmeyer. Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah. So
nice. Now,
I had a
now, the
good.
main thing we do want to remind people, yes, they can go looking for the film. I don't know where you can see the.
Well, it's going to be coming out online, and it'll be streamed in the fall. It's now going to theaters in the UK and Europe and overseas, and we just hope that it just keeps rolling along. Love and Culinary was a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I also have 4 or 5 other films that are coming out in the next year that I'm very proud of. Linoleum, where I play comedian Jim Gaffigan's father, and
Oh
also
wow!
have a
Yeah.
scene opposite Tony Shalhoub. And then my own son Dan Simon has a wonderful movie called Another Year Together, where I play his father. For some reason, they're casting me as fathers, Rabbi. I don't understand that. I just
I get cast as mothers, so it's very strange.
yeah,
Now, speaking of casting, we do want to remind people, want to
yeah,
tell people that you're also doing good old fashioned live theater. You're doing an off Broadway show that's
yes.
talking about two bill, one act plays by the Chain Theater. You're
They
in
are full length plays, actually, Rabbi.
also in Rep.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's no intermission, but these are full length plays. They were an hour and a half, which today is a full length play. In the old days, it was 3 acts.
four and a
Today
half hours, long day's journey into the next afternoon. Yeah, right. I get it.
that's right. Today you go, and they call it a whole full length play, but it's an hour and a half. It's a wonderful comedy.
Yeah.
It's got tremendous. Uh, there's a lot of feeling in this comedy, and
Well,
I,
who you
I
get to feel? No, I'm kidding.
I play this. It's called Love, Sex, and Real Estate, and
Deadly sex.
I,
Yeah.
I play. Unfortunately, you say the real estate. I don't get the love and sex in this movie, but
Play. It's a play.
it's right.
Yeah.
It's it, it's got a wonderful cast. The play is written by Bill Cosgriff. It's directed by Dan McNally, excuse me. The actors in it are superb. I have an ensemble cast. I'm going to just Frank Hanke, Rohan Lillian, Catherine McLeod, Eric Percival.
I got
These are
Frank
all
Ricky
people.
right here. Yeah. Uh, so, and when is it? It's at the Chain Theater on West
It's
30th.
at the Chain Theater. It's produced by the American Renaissance Theater. The Chain Theater is at
Yeah.
312 West 36th Street between 8th and 9th. It's a sweet little off-Broadway type of theater. People can get tickets by actually going online, and I'll just say where you can get these tickets. It's at r.show/RT/88517. Boy, I better say that again. That's a lot. It's again, to get tickets. Write this down, please, folks. ROUR dot
Oh,
our
yeah.
dot show slash ARTC/88517. The show runs from September 16th until October 1st. There are 10 performances, and we would love to, have folks come and see. It's the first full production of Bill Cosgrove's play. I love
premiere. This is lovely.
This is the premiere.
And
And
speaking of premieres, I want to bring you back. Because you tell us that you were a founding member of Yale Rep, which I imagine was Robert Brustein like running, or how did it start? What were you in? What was it like?
it was, as was Mr. Brustein, my mentor, it was turmoil in the beginning. Which was wonderful. I love that. I mean, Yale Drama School had been kind of placid when I first came in 1967, 1968. But then when Brustein came in, he rocked the boat. He painted the green room red. He made all kinds of, well,
It was the 60s.
It was the 60s.
Yeah, right.
It was definitely the 60s. It was very exciting. He brought in the living theater. He brought in the open theater. He brought in all kinds of different things. And so we were subjected to many, many different things rather than just the conventional kind of theater that we had been doing. So I learned, and I got the exposure to so many different disciplines. So I was very lucky. And I was also lucky that I was chosen the first graduate to go into the Yale Rep in 1967-68, and that was quite a wonderful experience. I got to work with the directors from the Royal Shakespeare Company, the National Theatre, Jonathan Miller, Clifford Williams, Ken Haig, the original Jimmy Porter at the Royal Court.
What shows were you in that first Yale Rep year?
Yale always did a very good dose of classical work. So I did everything from John Ford's "'Tis Pity," "She's a Whore." Yeah. I did Pirandello's. I mean, a lot of classical stuff, but that was mixed with the world premiere of Joe Heller's "We Bombed in New Haven." Which was a wonderful experience, and a lot of contemporary work. And it was at Yale that I really developed a real love of working on new plays, because there were always a lot of playwrights there. It was a playwriting work and going on. I also, when I went to London in 1965, while I was at Yale, I went there for the first time, and I saw how the British mixed Shakespeare at Stratford, and then with the same actors, Ian Holm and others, they would do the next week. They would come in and do Pinter's The Birthday Party or The Homecoming, and I saw how mixing classical work with contemporary work really developed actors to their most strength. I just think that's the way to do it, and so I've had my studio, the Simon Studio, for 45 years, and that's been one of the things I've always done. I've mixed classics with contemporary. I've mixed theater with film. I've mixed live with on camera, because I always feel actors, directors, and writers need to be working on all of those things at the same time. And they should be in the same room together. It shouldn't be just actors in a class by themselves. They should be there with directors, with playwrights, with screenwriters. So they develop a common language, and out of that come projects that many of them that we have developed in class have gone on to actually full productions or full films. We have a film coming out, a full-length film, Abdu and Sayena, with two of my students, Omar Bakri and Inji El Gamal, who are directing and producing it, that use the whole studio, and they are Egyptians who came to America. And I'm very proud, for instance, that's just one of the projects that has gone on from the training that has developed careers of our people.
We're
Yeah.
talking to Roger Hendricks Simon here, longtime, obviously, actor, director, and acting teacher. What, like, of all the shows that you have directed over the years, it could be New York, it could be UK, what is your proudest project? Like the one where you went like, if I could go back and see that one again because I directed it, what would it be?
That's a tough question, Rabbi, because there's been a lot of work. So it's not just one. I love doing the Shakespeare's that I directed down at the Folger Shakespeare. I thought that was a wonderful experience because in all these years I was in my early 40s, I had never done Shakespeare. And that was quite a wonderful experience. I would say also looking back, even when I was very young, at Yale, my final production of Gelderod's Pantagles, I took great pride in. I still look back on that as one of the heightened moments of the work that I did. And I think I was also proudest of some of the most recent work with my wife, who passed away after 45 years of marriage, Sarah Levine Simon. Her plays, she was also a playwright as well as a novelist. She has novels that are coming out still that I'm from her publisher. Those plays I did off Broadway at 59 East 59th Street. I'm very proud that I was able to produce and direct her work. So, yeah, I mean, I think I always say that the work I'm proudest about is the work I'm doing now. I mean, it's great to look back. I really feel very fortunate to look back on some work that I was proud of, but it's working with the young actors and the young directors and the young writers and the young producers. And that work that I do every single day of the year is what I'm the proudest of. I love being a teacher. I love being a mentor. And that keeps me hopefully young. It keeps
How
me.
about for young feel? Let me ask. So you did bring it up. I was going to ask about this because how do you get through that? Like you were married for 4.5 decades, right? You knew this person. You worked with her. You read her work. You're coping with how do you cope with the loss of someone you've been with for so many years and that you have been so close to? How do you do that?
I don't know if you do. I do my best. I think if I do, it's because I always had my own interests, my own life. We worked together. We worked on projects together, but we worked on our own things. She had her writing, which was very much her own. I had my acting and directing, my studio where I train people, and that my life has never changed. I mean, in that way, I think you have to have your own thing because you're going to go through things in life that are going to be very hard to get up off the canvas. And if you depend on other people totally, you're in trouble. I think if I did, I hope I'm surviving. I think it's because I've never really stopped doing what I love, and because my life really didn't change. It just I kept doing my own thing. I
You
think
get up
with
in the morning and I have to direct today.
I
So
mean people
brief, what? Yeah.
the 2 weeks after she passed away, I opened a new play, and people said, "How can you do that? How can you do that?" And I remember when my father passed away, I was in a play, and I said to my mother, "No, I have to stop. I got to get out of it." And she said, "No, no, no, no. You got to keep going. You know, your dad would he wouldn't want you to stop, and this is what you do." So that's what it is. I think with anything, not just acting and theater, you have to have your own. If you have a passion, you're lucky. you're lucky. Hopefully you have something that you love and you just work at it. And you're not being disrespectful to somebody who dies. You're respecting them because you're saying, I'm doing this, we're going to continue life. We're going to continue life. And I will still respect you, and I will still remember you, and I will still love you, but I have to go on. So that's the answer I would give you.
You're going to life, like I am. We're
Like
talking
I
to
am.
Roger Hendricks Simon here. We have a couple more minutes with him before you stay, and then I go, because you're going to play the trivia game with David and David Sheward and Leslie Blake. It's going to be so much fun. But we still have a few questions now. I love the anecdotes. I love the stories to tell, because that is the accumulation. You don't necessarily have to dwell on things in the past, but it's also fun to look at things in the past and remember, so you have worked, apparently, and it's on your website, with a lot of different people, including, did you know Tennessee Williams?
Yeah, I did, and I had a great time in many ways working with Tennessee Williams. I was very lucky to be able to direct his play, A Lovely Afternoon at Creve Coeur. It was, in the end, not a very happy experience because we did not totally agree, let's put it mildly, on it was the end of his life, towards the end of his life. But I will say this, he was always a young man, and he always did his writing. And it wasn't always the play that was in rehearsal. I would go to pick up rewrites at his hotel, and he was working not only on our play, but he was already working on the next play. Or going back and rewriting a play that had been very successful, but he wasn't happy with it. He was going to rewrite it. And so...
Was it Cat on a Hot Tin Roof? Was that the one, or was it...
It was, well, that was one of them that he rewrote. He rewrote a number of plays and gave them different titles.
I'm going to ask you this question, though. It's like, so you have some swagger. You came out of Yale Rep. You did but now you're here to direct Tennessee Williams. How, if you disagree, how do you have the cojones to kind of say, no, I'm the director, you're the playwright, and you're major and famous, but still, no. How do you do that to Tennessee Williams? Or Arthur Miller, or you know what I'm talking?
Well, I don't know if you say no. I think you kind of have to suggest as gently as you can that there might be other possibilities. There is the art of diplomacy, and you do have to, it is his play, not your play. In movies, it's more the director's medium and not the writer. But in the theater, it is really the writer. So the director interprets, but it's not his play. So you really, in terms of, I've had experiences where I knew the writing needed work, and I actually went and did some rewriting, and it didn't go over very well. So you have to be
with the playwright, certainly not.
No,
not going with the audience. You mean? Or,
right? No, he wouldn't come to rehearsal, and we were getting close to opening, and so I started to play with this with the language and the script because we had a show to go to. And when he saw it, he said, "Oh, no, this is fine. You go ahead, do what you want." But then when he saw it, he said, "What are you doing?" So, you really do have to. It's very, very much diplomacy and knowing how to deal with different kinds of people, which a director. People think directing is just directing, telling people what to do and where to go. You really have to get along with a lot of different kinds of personalities. You're not going to get along with everybody, and there's always this art of compromise, which is part of directing. You don't always get exactly what you want. You just, sometimes you got to come to some kind of middle ground, and some people can't do that.
An actor, and if they're dead, by all means, name them. But someone you would never ever work with again, and that you wish would drop dead. Is there anybody that you were just like, oh my God, what a bested, what an asshole? Besides me.
I would love to work with you, Rabbi. I mean, gee.
Oh, anytime. Yeah, but no, but go ahead, tell.
You know what? No, I can't. Maybe I shouldn't. On a certain day, I would say something, but I tend to think, people have bad days and bad, you forgive. You kind of go on, and hopefully they forgive. Um, doesn't do any good to really hold grudges and things. I think you
Oh,
try to you just try to move on if you can. And I try. I don't, if they're in my head, I put them way back there. I
that's
don't
because my hands are so weak and shaky. The only thing I can hold is a grudge. Let me
know.
ask. I noticed also on your website that at some point you worked with John Travolta. What was that?
Yes,
Pre-Grease? When was this? What was it? What?
it was back in the age of Greece and Rome. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
That was that Greece. John Travolta was and still, I think, is a beautiful person. I had the good fortune to direct him when he was about 18, 17 years of age, and I directed him off Broadway in a new play, and he was wonderful. And I had but I'll tell you something, he had the support when he was young. I would call his home out in New Jersey to give his mother the schedule and what have you, and his mother would say, "Isn't John the most wonderful actor you've ever worked with?"
Oh my
And
God!
he really had the love and backing of his family, and how important that is. There are people that can do it without that, but you got to have it. It makes it very hard without it. And he was a very sweet kid. I felt terrible when uh
Oh, and Kelly Preston died,
we
or no?
the show was in New York. It was an off Broadway new play by Martin Duberman, actually a very fine writer. And we were Edward Albee and Richard Barr saw it, and they wanted to move the play out to East Hampton to the John Drew Theater, and we loved the idea, but we couldn't hear John past the third row,
Oh,
and so I had to let him go. And we did the production without him out in East Hampton. Going forward, I'm out at Paramount in 1991, and
oh,
I'm out at Paramount watching an episode of Cheers being shot. And who comes in the door but Ali, John Travolta? And I saw him. I hadn't seen him since
right, 70
1971,
something.
two. And I went, "Oh my God, oh no." I started looking for a place to hide. He's walking straight toward my row to go this way. And and as I'm looking this way, he goes, "Roger, hello." And I look up and I go, "Oh no." How do you? I said, "Oh, John, George. Oh, hi, John. I all these years, I guess I really don't know who to fire, do I?" And he said, "Roger, man, that was so long ago." He said, "No, you were right." He said, "I was so young." He said, "But you got to know, you have to understand something." I said, "What, John?" He said, "I was in awe of you." And what? Why? What? You were in awe of me? He said, "Yeah, yeah. You went, you went to Yale. You went to Yale." I said, "What?" I mean, and he went, no Yale, no, and look where his
Of
career
course, yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
And that's
Oh no!
people when they come to me and they say they want to study with me because I went to Yale. I said, "Don't do that. Don't do that." I said, "First of all, I'm not going to necessarily be able to get you in at all. I mean, second of all, there's no one way. There's no one way. Yeah, Yale helps. It helped me. It helped a lot of people. It's not for everybody. A lot of people have had major careers without having any prestigious background. They've done it by living life and by getting it here, there. You got to get the training. There's no question. But Yale, Juilliard, all these places, they're not the only place you can get it, but you have to maybe work hard to get it. You can't just, think it's going to happen by luck.
Well,
But
one place people can get it. is going
Yes.
to Simon's studio and studying with this man, Roger Hendricks Simon. He's been teaching.
I'd be honored. If they want to reach me about that, they can email me at rhsstudio@gmail.com, rhsstudio@gmail.com, or they can Google the simonstudio.com. Thank you.
SimonStudio.com. Plus, we also want to remind people that they can see this man from September 16th through October 1st live and on stage off-Broadway at the Chain Theater in a show called Love, Sex, and Real Estate. So, I need to vacate this real estate right now, this chair I'm on, to bring in Dave, who is the producer, the high mucky muck of this show. He just lets me sub a little bit. But you stay. You, Roger, you don't go away. You stay right there because you're going to play the game with some wonderful people. Do not go. I'm just going to play some more of my my Jewy music, because that's the only way I can get out of here cleanly. All right, here we go. Here's Mom Freilich. And thank you so much, Roger.
Thanks, Rabbi.